Hello, everybody, and welcome to Maximum Libertarian. This is Brian. I'm joined today by the one and only
Dean Davison. Dean Davison. And I hope you enjoyed the intro of Brian walking down the Greenway. And, he's just getting his view on Roanoke City when he runs for council here shortly.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's happening. So if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button on this YouTube or Rumble, wherever you're watching this. Then also follow us on Twitter at WeAreMaxLib. And what else should they do?
Smash that button like it's not even funny. Make you smash that like button. Get it done and over with.
And Dean is running for Board of Supervisors. So if you want to give us a quick update on that, Dean?
Quick update on that is I have more signatures to turn in. Hopefully that'll get my 125 down. I'm still going to be going around to different neighborhoods. I actually was before I had a soccer game. Obviously, I got in the community and help out things in the community other than firefighting. I do soccer refereeing, but before that I was driving, looking at the different areas closer to me that have nice areas I can go to reach the voter, and basically I'm planning out my strategic walking patterns and stuff for upcoming. Even though I might not have to collect signatures, I'm still going to try to reach every single house that I possibly can, because Bedford County, since the last time I was on here, Bedford County is doing some really crazy stuff. 37 cents is current per dollar is the current tax rate. They're trying to raise it to 41 cents, and these are all conservative Republicans. Yeah, not much republicanism going on there now, isn't it? So it's actually good. There's only 2 people that have stood against it of the 7. So unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever you want to look at it, the person I'm running against hasn't said anything, and I guess it's going to go with the status quo of voting for it because he's not openly opposing it like 2 other people on the supervisor. So if I get in there, they're going to know me as kind of like the new Gary Johnson as Mr. Veto. Every time they want to raise taxes, it's going to hit no. Because
is there anyone else running in your district? Like, is there going to be any Democrats or Greens or I know y'all have to run as independents.
Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. We have to run that way. If you go with the VPAP, the Public Access Project, it'll show him as a Republican and me as an independent because I can't put the word Libertarian up there. Either way, they want to try to do that. I mean, we know they're Republicans, but at the ballot access level, it's just an independent run. But people know they're static, hard Republicans, and I am a Libertarian who is very good at getting out to the people that in the area that are not wanting a Republican-based person to raise their taxes. It's pathetic. But Democrat, no other independents. There's only 2 districts that have people running, have somebody that go against somebody, and that's in my district, and the district just north of me, which is Andy Dooley. He's running against Bob Davis. Bob Davis is one of the people that spoke against the tax right. He's also a big farmer. So me and him get along on a lot of things. When I was running with Shady Grove Fire Department, Fire Rescue, me and him had a lot of nice conversations. He's a good guy to have on there. Yeah, he's Republican, but he's very open to different ideas, and that's what makes me happy to see some people that kind of have the same kind of ideas that I want to bring to the table. So you can work across the aisle. But Andy Dooley is known as he's put in there as an independent also because he's not being backed as a Democrat. But everybody knows from when he was a supervisor, because he was a past supervisor before Bob Davis beat him. He's running again, and people know that he's a liberal Democrat. So chances are he's going to get slapped around again and even though he's out spending right now, the guy. He's going to get smacked around by Bob Davis for sure. So, especially when they go to the public hearing on the 24th and they vote for this tax thing, it's going to be ugly. But
right. Okay. So that was your website there. It's Davison for Supervisor 2023.GoDaddySites.com. So if you want more information about Dean, and then you've got a Facebook page. Is it just Dean Davison Bedford Board of Supervisors, right?
Correct. Yeah, if you look that up, you'll find it. It's Dean D. Davison, Bedford County Supervisors 2023. You can find that there. You can donate. Thanks to the people that have donated, man. I've got people from New Jersey that I used to know, fire chiefs donating $50. I have, chair of the LPVA, Jennifer Leatherberry. She donated. Another one of my buddies, let's see, Andrew. That's not. He's politically homeless. But I can go through them. I just want to thank them. I want to thank every single one of them.
Thank them, but
Mount Chaco, thank you so much for y'all for giving some money. I'm well outpacing. I'll make sure I go through the list. Well outpacing the James St. John, Andrew Wilson, Jennifer Leatherberry, Mount Chaco, Sean Vina, and then the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus endorsed my candidacy, and I got a nice chunk of change there, which is going towards stuff for the campaign, obviously, some pamphlets and hangers and all that good stuff. So I appreciate that too. It was good to see an endorsement, and they like endorsing smaller races because they believe it's more winnable, and I agree. If you're in a local race, it's more winnable than even a delegates race. If you're doing it local.
Well, one thing, and I think also, even if you don't win, if you run a smart campaign, you have a big opportunity to inform voters of what the Libertarian Party is, and also wake people up, because you're just being Johnny Appleseed. Let's be honest. As much as I think we'll talk later into this discussion, right now you're trying to spread this word because we've had years and years of a two-party system that have rigged the elections against any third party or any independent to make it extremely difficult to get onto the ballot and have their voices heard.
No independent since Ross Perot has gotten traction.
Right. And, when I think about like in Roanoke City and when Caesar ran in 2020, the goal was, now granted it sucked because we had the COVID pandemic and, it's completely different. But had we not had the COVID pandemic, he had plans of knocking on doors, and he had a really good game plan. And I think really what you got to do is not look at it as like, hey, what's the market? You're going to say, hey, this is a success. Now, granted, winning is the ultimate goal, and that should be your ultimate goal.
Yeah, but time, for me, a win in the House.
If you can wake people up to
the House of Delegates race that I ran, that was a win. Over 700 people voted for me, and you had Republicans putting signs with rhinoceroses on them on top of my opponent.
Right.
If we wouldn't have had a Democrat in the race, it probably would have been a lot closer, a lot more votes. But Democrats hardly ever got involved in it, and it just
they were running. Right, and like you got 700 votes, and I understand that out of the 700, there might have been some protest votes against the Terry Alston, right? That you ran against.
Yep.
Right. So there might be protest votes, but I think one thing that the LP should be doing, and I think especially we're just going to say the LPVA, and what I would like to see done is in each district, we start trying to go for fundraising, and we set a goal of like, let's say if 700 members that voted for you, let's just say they were Libertarian, and if they all donated $60, that turns it, just do the math of 60 times 600 or 700, whatever you want. That's $42,000.
That's a bunch of ads, and that gets you out there.
Game changer, and I don't think people realize that we've got to reach out to them. All right, as much as I think people should try to reach out to the state, to the affiliate. At the same time, if you don't have a goal with that money, like we need to sit down and say, okay, here's the goal. You donate $60 one time this year. And what that's going to get is we're going to buy billboard ads. We're going to buy Facebook ads. We're going to buy newspaper ads. We're going to do whatever. And then if we don't, let's say we don't have a candidate in the district. right? You take that money and well, next year we've got a presidential candidate coming up. I think but that's really what we should do. It's too bad we couldn't figure out who. I understand the about voting is secret, but too bad that 600-700 people don't make more of an effort. If they would reach out and don't make a donation to you,
It's all part of it, and I like I said, I feel a lot better. I mean, it's a more local campaign. It's harder to get the signatures in reality because you're in a smaller area, but at the same time, I've reached more people and I've got more fundraising from party members even than I have in the past. And that's not even including people that have already committed to, once I'm on the ballot, committed to giving me substantial donations. So it's really, I'm well ahead of my last name. I can tell you is I'm also working in the LPVA as on the candidates support committee, and we're making some ground there where we're going to have pamphlets and stuff to give to candidates and help them out when they want to run for the first. When you run for the first time, it's not as easy as it. People think we have money. It's not that easy. You have to do it yourself. You have to collect signatures. You have to build a team. You have to understand the ballot access laws. You have to understand the money, the financial laws. When you go to file, you have to know to file certain times. We got to get all these new candidates, up to speed on that. And I think we're making really good efforts in this candidate support committee to really do some good work. And I'm proud of being involved with it. Vice chairing that. I think it's giving back to the party in a way, because I did make chair. I did make, weird enough, chair, vice chair, and secretary all in one term. But I'm giving back. I mean, I'm not that now. I'm giving back to, you have to give back to the party. Even if you're an individual member, you need to be giving back to the party. You need to start getting people involved with the party and get people, more people that are like, what do you call it? That are like your, Derek's and Eric's and all those people that were really hard workers on the ground, because that's really imperative.
Right. All right. So now we've got that out of the way. Let's just go over a couple topics that just jot down, and we'll hear your ideas and maybe thoughts about. So this past weekend, we had teenagers all got together on social media and in the city of Chicago, went out and rioted. They were harassing people. They were doing a lot of damage, and pretty much the cops were useless to help the citizens. I've seen videos of just mobs grabbing a woman and beating her for some reason, damaging vehicles, personal properties. They were damaging businesses and things of that nature. The mayor-elect, Brandon Johnson, I believe his name is, he comes out and he makes a statement that he would not condone or condemn these acts of violence. He wanted to try to make an excuse. He was saying that these kids didn't have opportunities, and we need to look at ways to get these troubled youth help. And so, it was just really just a weird thing to see a mayor. Well, no, let me back up. It's not weird seeing in Chicago when you had Lori Lightfoot and people like, and I guess Rahm Emanuel before her, you had these individuals that show up, they have rampant violence, and they continue to vote for the same exact thing. And it's like, it's a cancer that's going to spread into the other cities that are on the side of Chicago. So what do you think about this?
First of all, you're talking about teenagers, people that can't vote. I mean, you're supporting a group of people. Yeah, everybody should have the individual right to do what they want as long as they harm no one else. These people are harming people. They're calling a menace to society and hurting others. So it's totally wrong. And for a mayor or mayor-elect to say, that's okay, well, you're an idiot. You're a total moron. buffoon. I can come up with a million different slogans for you. It's just as
Right.
bad as, like you said, Emmanuel. It's before that, you had Obama. You have all these people that have just been terrible for the city of Chicago. And you're right. This is just going to say to the youth of this country, hey, you going to go to Philadelphia next, and New York City, and Roanoke and Greensboro, and let's just take every town and start doing this and city doing this, because it's okay that you go and destroy things, hurt people, and take their stuff.
What do you think if you were you become board of supervisors, you get on there? Would you have, like, when, like, right now in Roanoke they're discussing, like, and there was another spot here in the valley, or in the state, excuse me, talking about doing curfews for teenagers.
Here's
So
the thing.
you have to be with 21 years.
Here's the thing. We all know regulations don't work. So, I mean, you can put a curfew down all you effing want, but are the kids going to listen to this curfew? No. What you need to do is you need to have programs for these kids to be dealing with things, whether it be sports or after school stuff, or, just a place that in a neighborhood where they can all hang out and be constructive rather than being destructive. And the problem is you're getting a lot of destruction because you don't have these programs in place. And yet in a city like Chicago is a democratic stronghold, socialist stronghold, and there are people that tell you that they're supposed to be providing all these programs. Where's the programs? You ain't doing it.
How would you pay for the programs? What are you going to do?
Well, first of all, a lot of these.
What example programs do we have? What I'm seeing is the lack of family values.
Well, that's a problem too. But
that is the problem.
You're right. That is the problem. But we have to have. Go
ahead.
We have to have somewhere for these kids to go when they're not, a family ain't taking care of them. So would that be sports, the church, you can get grants. There's grants available for pretty much anything you can imagine.
Grants are just taxes.
Well, depending on
just Federal Reserve blinks their eyes and they can create cash. But
my point is, you have to be smart about it. You can't go and raise taxes on people, but you have to find ways to cut things that don't work so you can provide these programs to people. That's the biggest problem. You have all these things that are not working for these cities and towns or counties, and like Butts County, and you have to cut certain things that may be funding the pockets of these politicians so that the kids and the youth have something they can do that's more constructive. It's really in the churches could stand, churches do a pretty good job of standing up and trying to help. Problem is we've lost the value of how you treat your parents and how kids these days do not understand what we did when we were younger. How we had, we could walk down the road or, not worry about getting shot, or walk down, and when the lights came on, the street lights, that's when you knew you should have been home before you get your mom gives you an ass whooping. And then back then, when your mama gave you an ass whooping, it wasn't child abuse. It was just being punished correctly. Like, we've gotten to a woke society so bad that these kids think they deserve a trophy for everything they do, and they shouldn't. It's not conceivable. And the way to pay for these things, like I said, grants, but you have to cut the trash out of some of this of the government to allow there to be funding. And then people that want to be generous and want to donate, or give back, there's just ways to give back to these kids,
Right.
Create a program that these kids can be involved with. If you have extra money, give the money to your boys and girls clubs and all these places that try to help the kids, because the churches try to help the kids, That's the problem with this country right now. Really, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, or what your creed or nationality or sex is. This world has been turned against each other many times over.
It's something that was that didn't just happen overnight. So it's not just going to be fixed overnight. It's like, a lot of these folks here in Roanoke, they're talking about gun violence, and this is across the country. Gun violence wasn't an issue, for years and years, and then all of a sudden it becomes an issue. But until they actually start discussing some of what's causing it, and it's not just the gun. The gun's not the problem. I'm never going to support any gun law. I think they're all unconstitutional. But we've got the family unit has been destroyed. So until we've got to get that back, or we don't view human life, as precious anymore. We celebrate any type of abortion, if it's from the beginning or if it's late term abortion. New
Or
York,
if it's Chris Cuomo stuffing a bunch of COVID patients in a elderly home in New York. I mean,
well, that wasn't Chris. That was what
whatever.
was it? Andrew,
whatever. They're all the same crook.
So we don't do that. So, and then also what we're doing is we've got a lot of mental drugs now that that these people are on, that we've got to truly address this. We can't have just like, hey, get rid of the guns. The problem's still there. We also have what we didn't have, with social media. Now, we probably had magazines where, back in the day when they brought out like board games or something. People worried that the kids were just going to sit in the house and play the board games. And, then we have video games. People worried the kids were just going to sit in the house and play video games. There's always something. They didn't like the printing press because that was going to spread misinformation. Now we've got, they feared about that. Now that we've got internet, we've got social media, that they fear spreads false information. I think so there's a lot of stuff, and we probably looked at magazines, which was like our Instagram, and maybe that made us sad. But we've also got social media, which is being algorithmed and made
biggest,
so you see.
Biggest tool of misinformation is right here.
Absolutely, right there. Well, I don't want to say no, I want to try to clarify, make sure that, and I think you did too. I know you weren't saying misinformation, but the tool of the internet's been great because, as you can see, like the DOD leaks that happened last week, this our National Guard airmen released information that pretty much was, I don't know who did what. Like I looked at it, I don't know what we like. It was embarrassing because you have stuff like we have special forces on the ground. UK has special forces, I believe. France. So in turn, this proxy war, we're actually at war, but we're pretending not to be at war with Russia and the different thing. If you might have like different countries, we're spying on different countries, or these countries are going to help Russia. Like I think it was Turkey. Be it here or there. Without the internet, some of this stuff don't get exposed.
It's true.
But what's happened is politicians and the deep state, if you will, have used it and said, "Oh, this Hunter Biden laptop is false and it's just disinformation." It's just some phony nonsense. So in turn, I think it's a great thing. I think another thing what maybe people should do, and I would let other people, I think it should be thrown out there, is when if you have a dog, your dog comes out and bites me, you get in trouble. The dog gets in trouble, but you also get in trouble because you didn't have your dog chained up or whatever.
Yep.
Why when if parents start getting held responsible
for their kids' actions? Yeah.
But like maybe put parents and say, look, if you don't control your children, like maybe not the first time, but if it becomes a reoccurring thing and your child is constantly getting in trouble, all right, you're not doing something at home. You're the first line of defense.
Yep.
So maybe they should get some type of, and I'm not advocating any type of jail time or anything to that nature, but
there needs to be responsibility held.
I don't know what the proper punishment would be, but I think that's something that should be thrown out there.
Need to be held responsible for their kids'
bad actions. But we now live in a world where the far left, and I know there's some crazies on the right. I definitely know that. But there's a lot of far left that want to have 16-year-olds to vote. They want but you'll be able to join the army or military as 18. You'll be able to vote at 18, but they want you to vote at 16. They want you to, let's say 21. That's when you can buy handgun, alcohol, tobacco. You can stay on your parents' health insurance till you're 27. So there's really no. And then also now we have, like, you can make healthcare decisions if you want to transition as a child and not be an adult.
It's pathetic.
I don't want to get too far into that because God forbid we discuss that. YouTube will shut us down, but yeah, but so in turn, there's like we what's the age? We're if we say, hey, we're going to punish the parent, should it be anyone under 27? Should it be anyone under 18?
Just gotta help hold the kids responsible. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're well past the time where we used to get in trouble when we were kids for doing little stupid things. And now, God forbid if you hold somebody, you're DL child abuse. So it's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now let's roll into today. Jim Johnson of Ohio came to New York City with some other Republicans and Democrats from the Judicial Committee, and they wanted to look at Alvin Braggs, who is the district attorney for New York City, who's indicted President Trump, and they wanted to look at the crime record of and you've got Eric Adams saying that New York City is one of the safest, or is the safest big city in the United States. But there's a lot of bad stuff going on up there. There's a lot of mess that they're not wanting to address. And Eric Adams is a horrible mayor. I think it's disgusting when you have, like, there should be nowhere should be just, all right, no matter who gets in place, the Democrat's going to win, or no matter who gets on the ballot, the Republican's going to win. Because
Correct.
When you look at the cities, and you can go down to Republicans too, but we'll just discuss Eric Adams. It's like you can look at Chicago. Chicago was a train wreck. So what did they do? They just go, let's keep someone who's worse than Lori Lightfoot. But yep. I guess really what I wanted to discuss though was like the Dog and Pony show. There's absolutely nothing that Jim Jordan's going to do, I don't believe. I mean, yeah, we get it. It's Alvin Braggs took money from a Soros-funded PAC, and he was running on it was like the lady from Minnesota, the Congress lady, she's part of the squad, and she said when she won her race, her first thing in her celebration is, we're going to Washington to impeach the MFer, talking about Donald Trump. So she didn't even go in there with us open-minded of like, all right, let me make sure everything that they're talking about is true. She went there. They could have put up dog crap, which they did, and she voted to impeach him. I mean, that was a disgusting thing there with him being, look, and Donald Trump, you can impeach him on the war in Yemen and drone strikes there and things of that nature. We can have more of a discussion there, but they had a phony Russian dossier that was done by Hillary Clinton, and they took that guy, and they've split this country was splitting already, but they just helped manifest it a lot.
I agree. Totally agree. It was already started. The match was already lit. The house was starting to burn, but all you did was add gasoline to it.
Yes, that's exactly. The house was on fire. They just added the gasoline.
Except for instead of water.
One of my friends, me and him were talking, and I was like, it was after the midterms, and I said, and if you remember when Trump had his midterm in 2018, one of the statements they made was he didn't do as bad as they thought he was going to do. I think he might have picked a seat up in the Senate, but he lost the House, but he picked up a Senate seat or something to that nature.
Yep.
And then in 2022, it was supposed to be this red wave, which if you really looked at the route the country's in, there's absolutely no way you can sell me that there shouldn't have been a change of guard.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a red wave. It was more like a red ripple.
Yeah, that. And back in the day, you would have seen a changing of the guard. This time, it wasn't. So in turn, they're like, oh, Joe Biden. So Joe Biden was like, so if you go back to President Obama, who was the last one that I remember, when the House and Senate, maybe the Senate changed, but when it all changed, okay, Obama, does his State of the Union, and he makes a statement of, I took a shellacking, or I think it was State of the Union, whatever. But he made the comment like, hey, I've got to change gears. Bush, I think, did a little bit. Clinton definitely did it. When he lost the Congress, he made adjustments, and because he worked so well with the Congress, I think that's why he got, well, and also because they put up Bob Dole. But but my friend, he's made the comment. He said, what you now see is now what you're seeing is gerrymandering. What's everything? Everybody who's going to be Republican is going to vote Republican. Everyone's going to vote Democrat is going to vote Democrat. So there's really no reason to make an adjustment to like Biden's. Why, as you saw, his State of the Union was on a madhouse. It was like a Apollo, if you will, like the people yelling and heckling and booing and hissing and all this stuff. This was insane.
Yep.
Had we actually had a red wave, he would have got up there and been like, we're going to have to work together and blah blah blah. Now they don't work together because they know New York's going to go for the Democrat and this place is going to go for this and this district. We are in a world of hurt because of it. And if it was me, when they did the redistricting the last time, they should have brought in here in the state. They should have brought that computer program in that I remember reading in Reason magazine, and it just circles it. Every 100,000 people, it wasn't drawing us from the 6th district wasn't going from here all the way up to Northern Virginia, and the 5th wasn't going all the way up to West Virginia. And you know how it is. It's insane.
You want to draw one line through a different area code just so you get those voters,
Yeah, they could, because they want this congressman or whatever. It's got to be a certain race, or they've got they do that.
Absolutely, it's ridiculous.
It's frustrating. But the Dog and Pony Show, do you have any thoughts? Or
it's going to be a dog and pony show because they're trying to put Trump on trial. This guy that's the district attorney. So we all know that's a Democratic city. So you're going to have a Democratic, Biden-loving, socialist-loving district attorney. So what do you expect? And it's both ways. I mean, Republicans shouldn't be like doing either. Both of them need to kind of calm the hell down. And they make a lot of stuff's made up to make Trump look bad, and I think it's actually going to help him. So ultimately,
right. All right. So I'm in agreement with you. Who knows? But I guess we're getting close to the time, and we're going to be wrapping this up. But before we get off, let's talk about the infighting in the LP just for a couple minutes.
Yep.
One of the biggest things, and I think it's hurt us. I mean, like I said in the past, we are black belts in fighting each other, but we will not use the same vigor and to go after the other people.
I agree.
And but God bless, man. Mises. Well, I hate the Mises Caucus. Well, I hate JBH, and I hate whomever. And it's like, quit it. You know, I was like,
Stop hating. Get people that can pull people together. So the party as a whole moves forward, not just caucuses or not just divisions within the party. Because every 20 years there's some kind of a big thing that happens with the LP. This is the 20-year mark. You know, you had Mises takeover. Prior to that, you had Harry Brown. I mean, you just look back on it. This is a LP thing. You're right. We're like black belts beating each other senseless instead of beating up the deep state and the state itself. So it's something that the party has to understand. There'll be times where it goes more left. There'll be times when it goes more right. It's just the way in this party is. You brung a party together of individual liberty under multi different philosophies of the libertarian message, anywhere from a libertarian socialist up to an anarchist. You have multiple. You have a classical liberal. You have a minarchist. There's so many different types of libertarians, and if we would just stop focusing on that and focusing on the thing at hand, which is stopping the state from taking your rights and your freedoms away, things would be a whole lot better.
Absolutely, I totally.
And if some of these people would work as hard as the Mises Caucus did, I'm gonna say that if they worked as hard as the Mises Caucus did to recruit people into the party, they wouldn't have, they could have fought back against them. Unfortunately, they had a good, well put together plan and a well put together team, and brought a lot of people into the party, and did a lot of groundwork to get where they're at. And that should not be not clapped for or applauded, because I mean, if you're a libertarian, you should be like, well, they really worked hard to get where they need to get. But here's some great candidates here. Mike Dermott, can't say good enough stuff about him. The Gold New Deal, definitely check him out. He's running for president.
That's goldnewdeal.org. Is Mike Dermott. He actually came and spoke to us here at the Roanoke Valley Libertarian Group. I think he was a very good speaker. He's been going around to all the conventions with Chase Oliver is also another one. And let's see, the next one that we've got is Lars24.com. That's Lars Mapstead. He's seeking the nomination also. But one thing that I like about him, I like the ranked choice voting. It just came up, obviously. And fair tax. I'm really surprised more people don't push the fair tax if you don't.
He has some good ideas.
Right.
Of course, there's you're gonna pick your preference. Obviously, in the LP, this is how we elect our president. We nominate our presidential nominees is by vote, and you have multiple people in the convention to do that. So yeah, pick who you like, but don't hate the others.
I thought he was okay. Then we've got Chase Oliver, votechaseoliver.com. This is his website. He was the Senate
candidate in Georgia
nominee. He where did I say?
I think it was Georgia, wasn't it?
Yeah. What did I say? Another state by chance?
No, and he was on the debate stage in his. That's what made him.
Well, he actually did a debate, and Herschel Walker showed it. So it was just him and Warnock, and I thought that was a good thing. They just picked a bad candidate with Herschel Walker. I mean,
hell of a football player, but yeah.
Well, might have been a football player, great, but he
hell of a football player, but not a good politician.
Right. No, he shouldn't have been in politics.
That's what I said.
But Chase Oliver did a great job. He's been going around just like Mike Dermott. I'm not sure about Lars. And then we've got Jacob for Liberty, Jacob Hornsberger. Hornberger is running for president once again. He came very close to last time getting the nomination for the LP in 2020. We might see him on we're going to see more from him, because I do know he's got a lot of following. He has
a following, but
see it here or there, whatever.
He just need to quit where he started last time.
But I think everyone should check them out.
Yeah, pick your favorite. It doesn't matter if you like Hornberger. That's your choice. That's your choice as a libertarian. Your
And
choice.
absolutely, and hopefully we get some. Hopefully, and this is what we really need. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And I was talking to Sarah Amanda the other day. We need a candidate that is going to be. They need to be different. They need to go out there and make sure that their voice is heard. I only can fight so long. We've been doing it with what's this been? Almost 13 years now that I've been doing this.
10 years for me, so not very much difference.
Right.
We been doing it together for 10 years.
Correct. And the bottom line is when I go out here and I sell the candidates, people love our candidates. They love the ideas. They love the party. But then the whole thing is we get one. If you vote for my candidate, you're going to get 1% of the vote. You might get 1.5. Who knows? And if our candidates are not trying to do different, you can't play the game like it's always been played. You've got to figure out ways to, and this is what I'm going to make a suggestion. The LP, the LNC right now should be doing a fundraiser to find out how much it is to buy ads on nationwide television ads, because when Ross Perot got onto the debate stage, he had, he bought ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox wasn't around at the time. No, it was around. He bought like half-hour spots on all the major networks. And I understand we've got telephones and all that stuff, but I would spend the money, major networks, and we would spend it for our candidate to have a half hour to speak. I would spend it to, when we select our candidate, we go live on all 4 of them national television things in May. It's unacceptable. And if it's not live, 8 p.m. We're doing it 8 p.m. in. People will see it. They will see our candidate. That's the only way. You've got to circumvent. If they're going to be forced to let us on the debate stage, because if we have someone who is a good talker, who we can't have. And look, if the boot on his head, Vermin Supreme,
no longer a party member.
Okay, great. He wears a stupid boot on his head, makes all this makes a joke of the whole system. So by the time he actually starts talking, which when he talked, he was fine.
Pretty intelligent dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But you lose that individual who we're about to go to World War III, courtesy of the Republicans and Democrats.
Yep.
This is their, and we can't have a street artist performing and actually be taken serious. We need to have a Chase Oliver, a Mike Termont. We need someone, a Larry Sharp,
Spike Cohen,
Armstrong,
Spike Cohen. I mean,
absolutely.
You name it.
So, but our infighting needs to stop, and we just need to get behind these candidates.
Yep, absolutely.
And so that is it for tonight. You want to plug anything else? I don't have your. I had taken your.
That's fine. That's fine. No, we can talk about. We talked about the campaign enough. I think let's go to the point. If you're a LP member, and you're in the Vinton area this Saturday, which is near Roanoke, we're having our SCC meeting at Vinton McAdoo's on Washington Avenue. Find out more information just by going to the Facebook page for the LP of Virginia. So,
right. All right, Dean. Thanks for coming on tonight. I guess we'll get together. We'll look at your schedule and we'll do this again. And hopefully one day we'll be in the room at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right. I just need to get the work schedule's just got to work out. That's what it comes down to.
All right, so everybody, please, if you haven't already, just click the subscribe button on the YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey channel. And then what should they do, Dean?
Smash that like button like you never smashed anything in your life.
Absolutely. And click the notification bell, and then go over to Twitter. Follow us at We Are Max Live. And, well, that's the end of the show. So until next time, I'm Brian.
I'm Dean.
And we will see you later. Have a good night, my friends.